It's been a couple of weeks since I've done a movie review. Has it been that long? I was up at the thrift shops in Stockton on Monday, and there is a movie that I saw. I want to say like it was either a Turner Classic Movies or a Criterion Collection pop-up ad for this 80s classic Thief, starring James Caan. And it came out in 1981. It's got a 2-hour and 2-minute runtime. This VHS was 50 cents. MGM Universal. United Artists, I'm sorry. This is what happens when you can't do two things. I'm not a multitasker, okay? So anyway, this particular video had piqued my interest because of social media pop-up. And I didn't want to pay full price, and I didn't want to just order it. So I waited, and Providence shined this VHS copy down upon me to review for you guys. So this is Michael Mann's directorial debut. And I would say that the soundtrack for this particular film is iconic. I can't have it in frame. Okay, that's good. It's iconic. The soundtrack is by Tangerine Dream. And I first discovered them when I was in high school. A friend of mine from my homeschool co-op, his dad gave me his record collection at the time. And in it was a bunch of Elton John music, but there was some standouts, a Kraftwerk LP, and a Tangerine Dream album, which is synth-laden electronic music. And it takes this movie out of the early 80s and to me puts it in a different place in time. Like, I felt like I was watching Taxi Driver as far as the time period. The early 80s still felt like the mid to late 70s as far as big American cars, the way people dressed, sideburns. But the soundtrack was out of this world. It's just so contemporary and amazing. And then I kind of got a vibe from William Friedkin's night shots that he does. Michael Mann kind of has really good night shots with lots of neon lights, and kind of like Scorsese, he captured the similar kind of vibe in Taxi Driver when they would be driving at night and you see the neon signage reflecting on polished car paint. And that really resonated with me. I really love a good night scene. I read a little blurb somewhere that this particular movie is called like neo-noir, and it's called a drama crime thriller based on a novel loosely, The Home Invader's Confessions of a Cat Burglar by Frank Hoymer. I can't pronounce it. Anyway, loosely based, very loosely based. So James Caan plays a professional safecracker, and one of his partners is played by James Belushi. And James Belushi is kind of the technical guy that's hacking into the wiring to override alarm systems. James Caan's got connections to develop special tools to break into vault safes. We've got a disturbance. I'm doing a video. I'll come soon. Shoo! Away! I just devastated my 2-year-old by shooing him away out of my live review. He's crying. I feel terrible. Okay, so anyway, if you like movies about safecrackers, you'll love Thief, and you'll also love the Disney classic. Hang on a second. If you're not into intense movies about safecracking, I would recommend the Disney safecracking classic starring Darren McGavin and Don Knotts, No Deposit, No Return, which has very loose ties to this movie. Not at all, but they're both about safecrackers. One's a Disney family-friendly movie, one is not. So anyway, I always think of Michael Mann from the movie Heat, which I recently watched in the last couple of years for the first time. Val Kilmer, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro. Excellent film. My buddy Jonathan, huge shout out. He just recently watched it for the first time as well. And Thief is a stirring film. There was some things that bothered me about it. Like, I feel like, why does everybody have New York kind of mobster accents when the movie takes place in Illinois? And it is kind of like a whole mobster element to the film without giving too many spoilers. James Caan plays the title character, Frank. And like I mentioned, the James Belushi character is his side help guy. I don't know. Special guest appearance by Willie Nelson, who plays James Caan's best friend in life from when he was in jail. It's a sad movie. Very sad movie, but it's well filmed, well acted. The villain is played by Robert Prosky, who was like a bit actor in the late 70s and 80s. And he also plays the villain in The Natural, which came out a couple of years after that. So it's a great ensemble cast. Like I mentioned, amazing soundtrack. And there's people that hate my reviews and have personally criticized me that I know because they say my reviews are all over the place. But you know what? It is what it is. I don't put a lot of time. I just do it for me, just to have some document about what I think about. I am going 5 out of 5 on this film. We're digging into the review time now. It's 5 out of 5. I really recommend it. IMDb is 7.4 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, 79%. And Google users would be 84%. So most people were in the 4 out of 5 range if they're kind of correlating it with my 1 through 5 score. There was some things that bothered me. Like I said, the accents bothered me. But overall, as a whole, I really enjoyed the movie. And it left me wanting to watch more Michael Mann films. And I will be digging into his catalog now. And aside from Heat, which came out in the 90s, I'd like to see some of his other early films. And I like this era of films, late 70s, early 80s, kind of like that French Connection vibe. Or like that movie Cruising that I did a review on last year, all that similar time period. The cars, the way they dressed, just that whole late 70s, early 80s period. I like that era of films. My mother would not approve because she's more into the 30s and 40s wholesome movies. This movie, profanity, violence is very cheesy, but again, movie of the time. So there you go. Until next time, we will see you then. Comment below. I want to hear your thoughts if you've seen this movie and if I'm off base here with my high review of it.